Mr. President Sarkozy, you know that in France, the presence of Barack Obama and what he's done in terms of breaking the barriers in the United States has sort of made a resurgent black consciousness movement here. The black people in France are very proud and very hopeful for their future. They also live, many of them, in poor situations, and you know you've had your own riots here and protests and disturbances in the banlieue and the cité. At one point, when we were covering those riots, when you were Interior Minister, you called the rioters scum. And I'm wondering whether you feel today, when you stand next to somebody you clearly admire so much and who has broken so many barriers, that you regret that term or that you wish you hadn't said it?
Thank you, Madam, for your exceptional knowledge of French political life and your contribution to friendship among peoples. But precisely, if there was the need for change, it's because change was needed. And I'm so glad that you should mention in front of Barack a situation that prevailed before I became president in France. Now, this was back in 2005. You remember, Madam? We've had major confrontations at that time, and you in the United States know exactly what that means, because you'd also had that kind of difficulty. And there's a difference between the kind of confrontations that I had to handle as Minister of the Interior and those that you have handled in the United States. There wasn't a single person who died in France. Not a single bullet was shot by the police. The only injuries that were sustained were sustained by the police. Now, since I was elected, there hasn't been a single riot, because we implemented a considerable development program for these inner cities. And what I want to ensure is that the political adventure of Senator Barack Obama not simply be contained or be exclusive of a great country like the United States of America. You know, how many years has it been since you haven't had an American-sounding name for your Secretaries of State? Madeleine Albright, Colin Powell, Condi Rice. That's why I love the United States. And that's why in France we have Rachida Dati, Fadela Amara, Ramayade, precisely so that each be given an opportunity, that everyone have an opportunity. And so what the Americans have done, and that's what I talked about, and I'm proud of what has been done in the United States, and that's what I want to do here. One last detail. When I talked about affirmative action, positive discrimination, that is the way the Americans have said, for instance, there must be as much differentiation, as many different faces at leading a country than at the grassroots. But I don't know if you wanted to please me by putting this question, but you certainly did, so thank you for your question.